Welcome to another episode of Real Agency Podcast. Today I'm with someone I'm very fond of, Stephen Brown, legend, industry trainer, guru.
I wouldn't go that far, but thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. So, as you've probably seen in some of the other episodes, we'd like to dive into where it all started. So, can you explain who you are, how it all came about right at the beginning? And
Yeah, so I left school and my grades weren't great, so I decided I wanted to be an auctioneer. So I applied for jobs at Christie's and Sotheby's. Didn't get those, and then I saw a couple of adverts for commercial properties. So I applied for two jobs. I got both jobs. One was paying £2,500. Shows you how young I am now.
just for the listeners, that is a year.
£2,500 a year. And then the other one was paying £3,500 a year. So as an 18-year-old, obviously I took the £3,500, and when I got there it was actually £4,000. So that was a bonus. So I made a lot of tea. I did a lot of photocopying. And then I started getting involved in investments, and I was selling more property than the senior investment guy, but I wasn't going anywhere. And then I saw an advert in the Estates Gazette for a investment agent for £50,000. So I thought I'll apply for that. I didn't get that job, but the owner of the business who interviewed me lied away that I'd gone from a £4,000 job to a £50,000 job. So he said, "Look, I'm going to give you a job." So he created a job for me.
Oh, right.
So I was there just under 2 years. I was looking at becoming a chartered surveyor. So I was doing a correspondence course. I was in the boardroom at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then my manager came down and he said, "Really sorry, Stephen, but we're going to have to let you go." So that was,
What year was that? Is that mind me asking?
I can't even remember. Way too many years ago. So I've got to work this out.
Well,
In the 80s.
in the 80s,
In the
in that
80s.
period.
So I got made redundant. My dad at the time had a business where he was disposing of company assets on behalf of liquidators.
Right.
And he would sometimes come to me and say, "I've got this particular property here. What should I do with it?" So I said, "I'll give it to this person, give it to that person." So he said, "Well, what's the point of doing that? Let's set you up." So I set up above a cake shop
Right.
in East Finchley. Lasted for about 9 months, and my dad sadly passed away.
Wow.
And then I went into business with his partners, and effectively three of us set up this company. Well, six of us set up a company. Three had all these amazing contacts. We can provide you with all this work. And three were, I was on the property side, one disposing of the assets, and one an administrator. I got promised £30,000. So for a 21-year-old, that was a lot of money. So, well, this is very good. After 4 months, the money stopped, didn't materialize on the promises that they happened. So I ended up leaving. One of my clients said, "Why don't you speak to Green and Co? They're looking for somebody."
Yep.
So I went and had an interview. The interview went very well, but I was actually 6 months away from becoming a chartered surveyor. And David said to me, "You know what? You're going to leave in 6 months, so there's no point in me taking you on." 3 weeks later, I still hadn't found a job. He hadn't found somebody, so he said, "Let's start." So I started there. I had absolutely zero confidence at the time because my dad had passed away. The company hadn't worked really well. So his wife used to say, "Who the hell have you hired?" Stephen Brown was like, I pick up with him, Green and Co. And it's like, "Who's this person?" I was very fortunate. My late wife, I think I was on the basic of £7,000. And so she was working, so she was great. And looked after me financially and helped out because we weren't earning a lot of money. Don't think I sold the property for the first 9 months.
Really?
And then fortunately it clicked. And then a couple of years later I was made branch manager. A couple of years after that I was made one of the directors. And then I ended up number two in the group, looking after all the systems, processes, and the training of 100 colleagues.
It's a big business, wasn't it?
It was a big business, yeah. It grew considerably whilst
I think it was on TV, wasn't it?
we were on
That's
TV.
when I first knew about winning. I remember watching the program,
Yeah, we were on TV. That was quite entertaining.
and that was before Fly on the Wall documentaries were about, really, wasn't it? As one of the first, ones.
That was unbelievable for business.
Was
Actually,
it really?
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, we were followed around for a year, so it took a year
Oh yeah.
to film, and I was too boring, so I wasn't on the show. But there was a guy there called Richard Blanks, and at the start of every show, he was effing and blinding. Said, "That's Stephen Brown. He's a effing so and so. Can't believe he's got me to do this, this, and this." And his parents were best friends with, or best friends with a family that knew my parents. And he has said to their parents met my mum at a party. They said, "I don't know what you've done to my son. You've corrupted him. He never used to swear whatsoever, blah, blah, blah." And he watched the program back and he calmed down. And actually, we were very good to him because he was very stressed. So we tried to get him counselling to
Oh
help
really? Because
and all of
so
that.
the program highlighted that
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And then he calmed down. And then 2 weeks later, he lost it again and he ended up in recruitment. So God
Oh,
knows what happened to him.
oh bless him.
And then Sam, unfortunately, my late wife had cancer. So I ended up working part time for 9 months
Right.
and then went back and then she needed more major surgery. So just decided, you know what,
Get out.
you reevaluate life. You know, 3 boys. I got
She must have been really young then as well. You must have both been young.
um, I mean, remember now. So she was 2014, I think, cancer. So what's that? 11 years now. It's probably more 2011.
Yeah.
So yeah, way too young.
Waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got out of agency.
So I got out of agency, set up my own consultancy. Been doing that now for 13 years, and I work with estate agents and letting agents nationwide. Three simple aims: whoever I want to work with, I want to generate more revenue, but for them to be more profitable and for them to be better versions than they were before they met me.
Yeah. And you know, I have to say, like you're very giving with your time, and you're very giving with what you during lockdown, the amount of work you did, and what you've done, you know, for your late wife's charity. So we talk a bit about that.
Can do.
Yeah. So computers for kids.
Yeah, computers schools. So started that just before 6 weeks before Sam passed away. I was in the shower and I was listening to a debate in the House of Commons, and they were talking about COVID and lockdown, and certain kids weren't getting the education that they needed
Yeah.
because they didn't have laptops at home, couldn't afford them. So I started that on the basis that we would raise about £50,000, and the day before the day Sam passed away, we were on 48,000, and two people kindly donated £1,000 each, which was amazing. So got up to 50,000, and then we got up to 70,000, and I thought that was it.
You thought it would just fizzle
It was
out.
gonna stop. And then I came up with an idea that to get agents involved, that they made sales, and if they sold, say, 5 properties, they donate 50 quid to me.
Yeah.
I then send them a tablet to give to a school of their choice, or if they do 20 sales, they send me 200 quid. I then send a laptop, and then that's gone on, and I foolishly said I wanted to raise £200,000. And as of this week, just over 155,300 and 1,501 laptops and tablets have gone out.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
And you know, a local school near to us, you kindly donated some. Yeah, and it's great, and yeah, it's needed, isn't it?
Oh, it's still needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I got involved in another campaign called Markers for Mindfulness, and I've been into 35 schools delivering stationery, and I've had head teachers in tears because literally they're forking out money out of their own pocket, um, papers being rationed,
Yeah.
don't have enough glue sticks, and teachers are going spending money out of their own pocket as well.
Yeah.
And simple things, glue sticks, papers, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Some of our stores, it's like we're in a third world country.
Yeah. Well,
What's going on?
yeah, we're in the southeast as well. So not touching distance for London. You wouldn't think, yeah, my children's school, that you have to supply your own now.
No,
And it's fine if you can afford it, isn't it? But if you can't afford it, how are you going to find the money to, supply your children with the stuff? You need to go to great charities like yourself.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna clarify one thing. I'm not a
Charity,
charity.
yeah,
It's just a campaign.
campaign.
So
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I think it's fantastic what you're doing. So, and another thing you give to the industry is your lunchtime learnings. So let's talk a bit about that. So how did that come about?
So again, it's just interviewing. So being purely selfish,
Mm.
similar to what you're doing,
Yeah.
you get people in,
Yeah.
and for me, every day's a learning day.
Mm.
Corley saying success leaves clues. So it's just getting people on, and for me, being purely selfish, I learn stuff. Um, I've had some unbelievable speakers on it, and how because I've just asked,
Mm.
and at times I've been pretty like really scared about interviewing these people. But they put you at ease. So I've had Damien Hughes, but I've had Sandy Hilcast on. Had a guy from America called Jeb Blunt on fanatical prospecting. He's written loads and loads of books. But they're just like you and me.
Mm.
So it's just a question of asking, and it's great. But being purely selfish, it's just I get great people and I learn and I write no's and no's, and it helps me.
And what do you is there a common theme for speaking to people in the industry? Is there common, like, the successful people, have they got a similar trait?
I
What
think
do you
so.
see?
I've been to ARIC, Capital Conferences over in Australia.
I'd always want to go there. It looks amazing. Yeah.
Definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
I've been out to America 3 times, done the Realtors Conference. And the main thing with all these top performers that are on there is about consistency and discipline. You've got to be disciplined. What are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
And actually, agencies very simple. If you break it down to 4 things, it's about creating opportunities. Because if you don't create any opportunities, you've got nothing to list. You need to be a master at listing. If you're lousy at listing, you're not going to have anything to sell.
Yeah.
You then need to be a master at selling. And as a seller, I want a skilled negotiator that's going to get every last single penny. So you need to master those, but then you need to be consistent and disciplined in all those habits
Yeah.
to get to where you want to be.
And I'm not just trying to blow smoke up, up your ear, but over my career, there's been 2 people who I've been to training sessions with, and they've really left their mark. And it's things you think about on a daily basis, and things you pass on to team members. One was Julian Adele. Really early on in my career, like the late 90s, early 2000s, when he first went into training. Um, and maybe some of the stuff I learnt there I don't use now, but a lot of it I do. But for your stuff I've learnt over the years is that 1% difference. That was the first time I heard it from you. Like, you just need to, those little 1% every day make a big difference. The prospecting every day, and having that consistency. And I have to say that the course you did, your turn your data into gold, was life changing for me for my career, because I think I had 5 agents there. We created like 30 vowels in like 45-minute phone out session. And I'm like,
It's mad, and that's the point. It's sitting in front of you. The gold is there.
yeah.
So what are you doing? So there, obviously, if you're more established, it's a lot easier. If you're starting again, and I don't have my phone,
Mm.
but get your phone and call every single person on your phone and say, "I've got some really exciting
And
news."
I must have gone on that course like 9 years ago. I can't remember, but I was with an agent yesterday in my team who's fairly new to the industry. And he's probably gonna watch this back, so I won't mention his name, but he's struggling a little bit. He's early on. He's had some success, but he's not been going all in. And I said to him, if you go all in, you'll get the success. You need to do things consistently. And he's had some trouble, personal life and things like that. But I went back to the basics. I was like your phone, so many people, but because he's had a career change, he's worried that shouting about. He said most of the people I know, no, I haven't always been an agent for the last 30 years, but he's been around property.
Yeah.
He had 100 staff in London and stuff like that. So he's a successful guy. But I said, like, yeah, but they don't know. No one else knows.
And
So
naturally, they're people that already know you.
no, like and trust.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I said
100%.
to you don't have to do it publicly on Facebook, but you could just text them, just let you know I've joined this. This is my career now. If you've got any friends or family, I'm always here. Would you like to receive my market update report? All that sort of stuff, and it's all that. It goes back to your course really, because it's like using your data first rather than spending money to go and get new clients over here.
Yeah, you Google people, and look, just to monetize it, to make it really simple, if you go through and your own, just to get, you talked about, well, 1%, if you
Yeah.
get one extra market appraisal a day, that's 250 a year.
That's
If your conversion rate is 1 in 2, so that's 125 instructions. If you sell 70 of those, And I don't. What's your average fee roughly?
about 10 grand. Yeah.
Okay, so for you,
Yeah.
that's an extra £700,000 a year.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So it's a no-brainer.
Mm.
The average UK fee is most probably
Yeah.
£3,000. So that's an extra £210,000 a year.
Yeah.
So you've got gold sitting in your customer base. Make those calls every day, but do it by adding value.
And yeah, and I think in this busy age we're in, where people work, yeah, maybe not a lot of people answer their phone. Yeah, I'm not very good at answering my phone, as you know. But WhatsApps, I think you send a WhatsApp broadcast out, and you can get your message out, and maybe it's a market update report, maybe it's just a check in to say hi. I learned from a guy in America not too long ago where he said, "Do you ever ask your contacts for what, like the data,
Yeah.
into gold?" And he said, create a WhatsApp broadcast for your 250 best clients you've ever dealt with, who will absolutely love you and would support you if you needed something. And he said, just ask them and use the word please twice for referrals. So you must, can you rack your brain? Is any of your friends ask, if you're, maybe you send a message to all your friends asking, are you thinking of moving? Because I'm really looking to, I've got some great buyers looking in your area. I did it, 17 leads in 2 days.
Crazy, isn't it?
17 leads.
So do you know what? It isn't rocket science, but actually, the best agents are the one that take action and implement it.
So we're talking about what works. I think a lot of agents know what to do. Why do they not do what they should do?
Yeah, so it'd
What?
be really controversial.
Yeah.
They're lazy.
Do you? Yeah, that what it is.
Yeah, people don't do the basics well. People are waiting for. They're very reactive, so they're waiting for people to come to them.
Is that because in the busy times you have to be reactive?
No, you've got to be a deal maker the whole time.
That's what it is.
You got the 30-90 day rule.
Yeah.
So what happens in the next 30 days is going to impact in the next 90 days.
100%.
So one of the things that you need to understand about your business is when are the loud times in your business. Okay, so if that loud time is December or January, okay, what are you doing September, October to make sure that your December, January is going to be really, really busy, really, really busy, and that's what you need to be looking at most probably now.
Yeah. September. Well, we're just about to go into September. This is quarter one time, isn't it? Yeah, you got to make your money. Yeah, what you do now in the next 60 days is going to affect your first quarter next year, isn't it?
100%,
Um,
100%. So
and
it's understanding that. Look at your business, understand when those loud days are, and start working towards them.
and at where we are in the middle of 2025 at this moment, there's a lot of talk about overpriced stock. Only half the stock are selling pretty much, and we see it. A lot of agents are saying to sellers, "Oh, it's just the market's quiet. The economy's all a bit iffy at the moment." Do you believe in that, or do you believe it's all mumbo jumbo and everything can sell at a price? What do you believe?
You can control your own narrative. If you put the narrative out there that the market's quiet, then it is quiet.
Yeah,
But you need to be a deal maker. You need to be a matchmaker. So you can create opportunities all the time. So understand who's looking, understand who your buyers are there. And, I know we were speaking earlier that you created an opportunity. You saw a lovely property yesterday.
Mm.
And it's all about knowing who your buyers are. Get those one-off viewings.
that's I think we had a team meeting with all our partner agents this week, and it's looking after the buyers. I think anyone when you're launching a business, or you look after the buyers first, don't you? Because that's all you've got. You end up getting someone registered on your main list, and then you try to find them something. But if you look after the buyer well, you might not get anything off them this time round, but in 3 years' time when they move again.
They'll remember you. Look, we can't control what happens with interest rates. We can't control the wars that are going on, but we can control picking up the phone. We can control making opportunities and making things happen.
Yeah.
So it's know who your buyers are. So I used to love this time of year when I was an agent because everybody used to say, "Oh, August quiet." Okay, I did more business in August and more business for last third of the year because everybody had that mindset. Oh, do you know what? It's really
Takes their foot off the pedal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Where it was actually I put the foot down,
Mm.
and my last third of the year, quarter of the year was always exceptional.
Yeah.
I used to love August.
Right. And it's interesting. Like our August, 90% of our sales have come from price reductions, adjustments. So if we hadn't had those conversations late July or throughout July, we wouldn't have had a very good strong month on sales this month. So you just treat the fact, oh, it's August, it's quiet, and take your foot off the pedal, you're not going to sell anything, are you?
Not at all. But coming back onto your point about overpricing, I think it's about educating sellers
Yeah.
in your area, letting them know what's going on. Um, there are going to be agents that are overpricing properties. Ask the seller, how did that agent arrive at that price?
Yeah.
You know, as an agent, you should know everything that's going on in your area, full stop.
Yeah.
So say, look, I know every property that's sold. I haven't heard of somebody that's got that record price. I would love to know. Maybe they did an off-market deal.
Yeah.
Have they given you the evidence,
The comp. Yeah.
comparables? And they go, no. So, okay. And and I'll happily share this. There's a great slide about negotiation.
Right.
Where you get the best price is going to be in the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Where you get, if it doesn't sell for over a month, then you're going to really, really struggle. And then I'll also be talking about right move and which, and both right move and which say if a property doesn't sell in the first 30 days, it's down to three things: price, presentation, and promotion. So what we want to do is make sure we get that right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be putting a property.
So all these things of, I always talk about those three pieces, but yeah, so I've probably learned that off you as well over the years. Yeah, and I think having those conversations, a lot of agents also, I think a lot of agents also know this stuff and maybe keep it secret from their social media and database. But actually, I think it's more to gain if you start sharing that on a wider scale. So one thing telling Stephen Brown on evaluation that information, winning business there, why not tell the whole world?
But look, everybody's heard of Rightmove, everybody's heard of Which. So, these are third parties that are saying about, getting the price right and why it's really important. So I'll be talking about that. Case studies are really, really important. You made the point that 1 in 2 properties only sell.
Hmm.
So it's flip of a coin.
Yeah.
So, have case studies where you've taken it off a competitor because they haven't sold the property. You got it on at the right price.
Yeah.
You'll get a better fee second time rounds.
Yep.
Okay. And you've got a great price for them. And you've got those case studies. Get videos from that seller as well. And then that's going to help you. So case studies are
Yeah,
massive.
so yeah, the stories, case studies, this what it's all about. Isn't it? You mentioned earlier, every day's a learning day. Well, I learnt some of it last night. I was on social media and I saw a post from Simon Gates. You probably saw the same thing, where he talked about, um, you know, the Complete Agent podcast. They were talking about Rightmove Mobile have introduced a 750 bracket.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I didn't know about that. And Simon obviously didn't know about it. He'd listened to the podcast and it's great that, and so I was like, well, that's gold. It's like, because you need to know that stuff. And unless you're around that knowledge and that, and you're listening to those things and you're on social media, because all of a sudden now, like any pricing at 765, 785, 77, we can reach out to all those clients locally because we know that information. Other agents might not know that stuff. So I think it's very important to, um, listen to what's happening in the marketplace because I find it, knowledge is power, isn't it?
Knowledge is power, but implementation is
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
So, it's great that people listen to all the stuff, but what's the one thing they're actually going to implement?
Yeah.
And that's what's really important. So, it's the self-developers or the shelf
Yeah.
developers.
But what I'll say about your coaching training sessions is I always thought you can go to whole day seminar places and you get told loads of stuff and it's hard to choose one thing and there's not one clear thing you go away with. But what I say about how you do it is you always come away with that one thing,
Good.
which and those things have stuck with me and stuck with my other agents I work with. So well done to you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're nearly at the end of the podcast because we've got to go do a webinar in a minute. So big question, how we like to leave this at the end is, where do you see the industry in 5 years, 10 years time? Where do you see it changing? Do you think fees are going to go up? Do you think the industry is changing at the moment? What do you see the future?
I would love to think fees are a 4%, because I think people are worth it. People may think I'm mad.
Oh no.
I think there shouldn't be no sell, no fee. I think the sellers will be paying for marketing if the agents are brave enough to ask for it.
That'd be the norm, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that should be the norm. AI, obviously, there's loads of different things now. that are happening. So that will be way more advanced. God knows where that will be. But there were little things, and I showed you a couple things this morning where I've come prepared and drew you a little picture of your office here that took me all of 2 minutes to do, and I've given you a colouring book activity book, brandy to give to your clients as well. That took 10 minutes. So there's stuff like that. I definitely think there'd be more self-employed agents out there working for themselves. I think again the better ones will flourish. The ones that see it as a more of a hobby most probably won't. Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely interesting times. So you see.
We'll see in the future. Well, thank you very much for coming on,
For inviting me.
and hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
Look forward to it.
Take care.
Okay.
Thanks, then. Cheers, mate.